Hello everyone, welcome on in. It is a new week here on Betting Weekly, Game Bet Match, #1 tennis betting podcast and YouTube channel, brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. After Wimbledon, we've had a tremendous amount of views, loads of new subscribers, and we are back to earth with a bang with 250 events this week in Gstaad, Gstaad and Los Cabos. And to talk through all the runners and riders, give us the stats that matter, his picks to win the tournament and the best in round one matches with Bet Rivers, is our senior ATP Tour handicapper, is Sean Calvert. Good afternoon, Sean.
Good afternoon to you. You all right?
I'm good. We are filming this halfway through the Wimbledon final. We're not even watching the Wimbledon final. It's in the corner of my eye. It's 2-1. Sinner's serving. Southclass is serving. The show doesn't stop, does it? We're still slaving away.
It doesn't. It's. I rarely get to watch the Wimbledon final properly. Because I mean, it's on there, but obviously I'm not watching it right now. I'm talking to you, and then prior to that, I was looking at all these three tournaments. So. Yeah, I don't normally get to watch it in that much detail. I just kind of have it on a screen while I'm doing something else, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, it's just, the tennis tour. It's just it never stops, does it? Until the sort of second week of November or whatever. Yeah, there's no downtime for some of these guys.
Absolutely not. Thank you for everyone who subscribed throughout Wimbledon. We're over 10,000 subscribers, you will know, anyone who's watched the show. Hopefully you've joined us at Wimbledon, stayed with us for these events, because Sean was saying he's rather excited about this tournament rather than the Wimbledon event.
Do you remember when we had the winner, 80-1 winner and a 20-1 runner-up in Gstaad a couple of years ago? We had
Remind me. Who was that?
Francisco Cerundolo won it 80-1. He was the one pick, and the other one was Baez, who was 20-1. He was the runner-up. It was the perfect final, wasn't it? A couple of years ago.
Well, let's hope we can do that as well there. Obviously, Wimbledon, we had a good Wimbledon, a small profit. And as I said to the show, please subscribe. If you're new to the channel, I'm still watching it. We had our highest ever views for a show in the Wimbledon singles preview, and about 60% of you still haven't subscribed. What are you doing? Hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. Please hit the subscribe button. Join us on the channel and ring the bell and be alerted every time any new content gets dropped by either myself or Sean or one of the fabulous team we have here and the Betting Weekly studios. Okay, let's start off with Gstaad in Sweden. Looking at this tournament here, it is a clay court event. All these tournaments are clay court event. I don't understand the point in that. After Wimbledon, the hard court event, and now we're doing it's absolutely ludicrous. No wonder players get injured. Let's have a look at some previous winners. In 2024, it was won by Borges. 2023, it was won by Andrei Rublev. 2022, Cerundolo won it. 21,
wrong year.
2021, Casper Ruud won it. And in 2019, Nikoloz Jarry. So there is some proven clay court players in this draw. Before we look at the draw and the runners and riders, is it a slow clay? What have we got to get into?
Oh, it's slow. It's really slow here in Gstaad. It's played on clay next to the beach, so obviously sea level. It's windy, as most tournaments are when they're next to the beach there. Very, very slow conditions. Last 7 editions, it averages 74% hold, 67.3% first serve points won. That puts it more or less the same as Monte Carlo. It feels even slower to me, Gstaad, than that, but that's what the stats are saying. Tie-break matches here. Only 23% of the matches here feature a tie-break. So if you were betting tie-break played in this, you'd want odds of about plus 335 on a tie-break being played in any of these matches. The over-unders, there's a trend to the unders, 55% under 22.5 games in the last 6 editions. And one of the reasons why I really like this tournament is it's always been pretty good for underdogs. 39% of them win here. And strangely, the best rounds are actually the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the final. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but it is what it is, and those are the best rounds. But all the rounds are pretty good here in Gstaad. It's straight after Wimbledon. You're either into it or you're not, and you do get some good underdog winners, which is why I like it. Underdog P&L, if you backed every single underdog in the last 9 editions here, you just for $10, you would be up $220.17. Do you want to go for the weather?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so it doesn't. It's often not great here. I'd be disappointed if I booked a holiday in Gstaad because it always seems to rain. Thunder showers and rain are forecast on and off all week. No higher than 22 degrees. So I would say fairly typical Gstaad conditions. Slow, windy. One for the clay dogs. Got some trends here if you want those.
Yeah, so we want all of it. Come on,
we want everything. Sometimes you like to, come in with the odds and stuff, so I wasn't sure whether I was just
No,
overstepping
the
mark there.
The floor is yours, Mr. Calvert.
Fair enough. So the only number one seed to win the title here since 2012 was Casper Ruud in 2021, and only 2 number one seeds have made the final here since 2012. So it's not exactly a great tournament for number one seeds. It is one for the Clay Dogs, as I've said. Lots of big price winners and finalists here. Bourges won it 33-1 last year. As I said, Cerundolo, we had him at 80-1. I've put 2023 here, but quite clearly that's wrong. A Corrier was a finalist here, 33-1 a few years ago. Londero, whatever happened to him, injuries I think put paid to his career, 25-1 finalist. Benoit Paire won it at 30-1 a few years ago as well. And no qualifiers ever made the final in Båstad in the open air, and it's been going a long time, so it's yet to have a winner from the quali draw.
And let's have a look at the draw. The top 4 seeds all receive buys to round 2. So they're through to the last 16. And those top 4 seeds are former champion Francisco Cerundolo. He's the number 1 seed. Number 2 seed is Talon Griekspoor. Number 3 seed is Nuno Borges, defending champion. And number 4 seed is Sebastian Baez. If it went to the seeding, Cerundolo would face Dzumhur. Baez would face Darderi. Hugo Carabelli would face Borges. Koprifa will play Griekspoor. Looking at the draw, I would suggest that the bottom half looks a little bit easier than the top half. But there's some players in the top half, in particular number 1 seed, Francisco Cerundolo, who isn't in any good form at the moment. Not in the greatest of form at all. Going through a bit of a crisis at the moment, the Argentinian. But Bet Rivers still make him the favourite. The number 1 seed, Cerundolo, is plus 225 with Bet Rivers. Talon Griekspoor is $6. Navoni, who is unseeded, is $8. Borges, the defending champion, is $9 to defend his title. Darderi, $10. Baez, $12. Muller, $14. Ofner, $14. Carabella, $16. Garin, $16. De Jong, $16. And then we have 20-1 Botic van der Zandschulp. I do think the bottom half is a little bit easier than the top half. You've got some real proper clay quarters in that top half. Top guys who are going to grind it out, but in the bottom half there's question marks about a lot of the seeds there.
Yeah, I mean 9-4 about Cerundolo to win a tournament. I mean his first match will probably be against Navone. That's not exactly easy. I can't imagine it'd be that strong a favourite to win that. And other difficult players in that first quarter as well. Then you would potentially have Baez to get to the the semi-final. Final, whatever. It's way too short, isn't it, for a guy who's started off the clay season great. He was the clay leader coming into the French Open. I thought he might have a chance of doing something in the French. Lost in the first round to Diallo. Didn't win a match on grass again this year. I mean, I can sort of overlook that a bit. He may well come and win this tournament, but 9-4, not for me. I've got one in the top half and one in the bottom half here. And the top half, I'm going to go with the aforementioned Baez. I'm surprised he's as big as 12-1 here. Very surprised. I mean, he doesn't do anything in the grass swing. A lot of these guys, this they'll be really up for this because this is their little mini section now. You look at someone like Baez, no chance on grass, little chance in the US hard court swing that's coming up. He's going to be very, very interested in gaining ranking points where he can this week, next week, whatever he can get. Loves the slower conditions. He won Rio, slow there. Made the final of Bucharest this year as well. That's also slow. Won Santiago. That's a little bit quicker with altitude. But the 250s, they're Baez's kind of bread and butter, so to speak. And he's made the final here, as I said a couple of years ago. That run to the final, he had to beat Rublev, Thiem, Davidovich Fokina, and Fognini to get to the final. He's beaten Cerundolo in 3 of the last 4 meetings. He's also got a very good record against Darderi. He actually beat Darderi. I think it was either this weekend or last weekend. They played Bundesliga. A lot of the guys, when they've left Wimbledon early and they want to get ready for this few weeks on the clay, they go and play Bundesliga in Germany. And Baez beat Darderi again there. So I'm surprised Darderi's 10 and Baez is 12. I don't really get that at all. So 12-1, I think, for me each way. Baez, I think that's a decent price. I'm taking a chance in the bottom half of the draw. I agree with you. It is open. Griekspoor I can't have on slow
I think
clay.
I know you're going to go in the bottom half of the draw. I think I know you're going to go for.
Do you?
I think you're going to go for Vic Koprifa.
No. Although I would say he's got a decent chance. He wasn't the
I
one.
thought you would have gone for a 33. Okay, I'm trying to second guess you. Sorry.
It's all right. I think he's got a decent chance, but the one I'm going for is Jesper de Jong. Shorter price, 16-1. I really like what I saw of him on the grass, actually, considering he's much more at home on the clay. Another diminutive player, good mover. Both of these guys, short on height, but very good on movement. And it's so important on the clay to move well. He's in that section with Griekspoor, his countryman, but he beat Griekspoor on indoor hard in Montpellier earlier on this year as a plus 230 underdog. Ended up making the semi-finals there. Not convinced, as I say, about Griekspoor on slow clay. If you look at the numbers of this tournament, it's more return points are won than average. Fewer service points are won than average, so it's a real returner's court. It's not ideal conditions for me for Griekspoor. Borges is the other obvious choice, but he was 33-1 last year. Now he's 9-1. He's the defending champ, obvious threat, but pressure's on him to defend the title, to defend the points. So I like what I've seen from De Jong. I think he's got the ability. I mean, I think he's a very, very heavy favourite in the first round against the local wild card. It'd be disappointing if he lost that. Then he'd play potentially Capriva, who you talked about. Yeah, the winner of that, I think he's got a decent chance. And, for me, De Jong is, it's just got that little bit of extra. I think he's got a decent chance here, 16-1 each way.
So 2 there at decent prices. Sebastian Bayers, a former finalist here at 12-1. And Jesper De Jong at 16-1, both each way with Bet Rivers in the tournament in Gstaad over in Sweden. We have a couple of matches that we like to discuss as well. The first one sees a Swedish player, Mikael Ymer, up against Botic van der Zandschulp. Now, Mikael Ymer is someone who's fallen down the rankings, hasn't really played a lot of tennis over the years, but he's got a good record in this tournament. I think he's got a decent record in this world, I can remember. But obviously he's a local boy.
You in a second.
I'm sure either him or his brother got. I'm sure they did quite well in Sweden. But anyway, he's up against Botic van der Zandschulp. Now, these two have met 4 times before, and Mikael Ymer leads 3-1, including a win in the Challenger event on clay back in 2019. You would turn around and say that Botic van der Zandschulp clay surface isn't his best surface. Despite the winning head-to-head record 3-1 for the Swede, he is an underdog here with Bet Rivers. Botic van der Zandschulp is minus 286, plus 120 for Mikael Ymer. Watch your Ymers, there's 2 Ymers in the tournament. The spread is 4.5, and the total here is 21.5. I think plus 220 is a big price for the Swede in Sweden.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a story with Mikael Ymer. He was, for those that don't know, he was suspended for doping offences a little while ago, and then after that, very shortly after that, actually, he said, that's me done. I'm not having any of this. He said he was innocent and all the rest of it. And then he said, I'm quitting tennis. And he did. But then, as they tend to do, he changed his mind a little while later. Had 18 months out of the game and has come back this year. Has had a few injury issues. The fitness is a bit of a concern, but I'm not playing this on the money line. The head-to-head, as I've said, is, well, as you said, in fact, was a very good one for Ymer. He even beat Botic on grass, I think, as well, at hard courts. 102-98 service points won and return points won totals of that career series. And Van der Zandschulp's actually only held serve 63% of the time in this matchup. Ymer, for those that don't know him, very strong returner, not the strongest serve by any means. But that's perfect for Borstad. You don't have to be a strong server to do well here. That's been proven over the years. Mikael Ymer's had his moments here. He's only won 2 of his 6 matches here, but he did beat Alejandro Davidovich, easy for me to say, Fokina at this tournament. And he's tended to start well. He took the opening set off Fognini here when Fognini was top 20. Took the opening set off Rusevori as well. Last time he played it, ended up losing that match. And 2 competitive sets that he lost, 7-5 against Jarry here, the opening set against Nikoloz Jarry here, and 7-6 against Larkson. And so he's tended to start well at this tournament. Botic has never actually played here at all. He played, I think he played the Braunschweig Challenger last week. I think he made about the quarterfinals there. Never played this tournament, though. You would think that Mikael Ymer would be the better prepared for this. He knows he can beat Botic van der Zandschulp. My worry is he fit enough? I think he's had a bit of a long-standing hip issue. I'm going to go for the opening set here. The odds have probably changed since I looked at this earlier, but the opening set to Mikael Ymer plus 180 with Bet Rivers when I looked earlier. It may not be that anymore, I'm not sure, but for him against someone who often starts very lethargically like Van der Zandschulp, he should be the one a bit more pumped for this, Mikael Ymer, on his return to one of his home tournaments than Botic, who's up. Anyone that's seen him will know he's a little bit moody at the best of times.
Yeah, plus 180 is the price. Check the BetRivers website or download the app to check those prices on those matches. 20 different markets available on the BetRivers website for these matches on a 250 event, which is a remarkable offering across all the tennis. Let's move on to our second match. Sebastian Ofner is the man in question. He's up against Damir Dzumhur. Dzumhur is the underdog, plus 175. Ofner, minus 225. Ofner's a pretty decent clay court performer. 2.5 is the spread. 21.5 is the total. They've met once before in Moscow in 2019. And Dzumhur in the qualifying won 6-2, 6-2. Obviously, it's 6 years ago. No real much relevance in there. But Sebastian Ofner has produced some good numbers on the old clay this year. 17 wins from his 25 matches. But I'm judging by the fact you put this in. I think you're going to try to make a case of the dog here, but he hasn't won in his last 4 matches. And the last time he won on tour was at the French Open.
Well, he's not a grass man, Damir Dzumhur.
No.
You know, he's again a similar type of player to the ones I've talked about earlier. Small in stature, not the strongest to serve, but extremely crafty. Not easy to hit through in conditions like this, which are slow. And I tend to prefer that type of player here in Gstaad than someone like Ofner. I mean, Ofner's clearly the more powerful player, clearly got the bigger weapons, but that doesn't always win you matches on clay, particularly slow clay. I just think this will be a tricky test for Ofner. Dzumhur has the variety. He knows how to diffuse, if you like, big hitters, big servers. He beat Mpechi Pericard at the French Open. You know, no one serves bigger than him. Beat Jakub Mensik on a hard court as well a few months ago. So this is a guy who knows how to play against the big hitters. There isn't actually much between these. There's a tiny fraction between these two guys on their stats current season on clay, main level. Ofner, service points won and return points won, total of 101. And Dzumhur is just a little bit behind on a 100.3. So immediately looking at that, you wouldn't think that Ofner should be the price that he is. As I've said, the return points won in Gstaad is higher than average. Service points won are lower than average. It just suggests to me that Ofner's going to have a harder time winning this match than these odds suggest. You never really know with Dzumhur. He's another moody one. Sometimes if things don't go his way, then one thing that should be 100 to 1 on is that he'll have an argument with the umpire at some point in this match. I've never known a player moan as much as him. He's constantly on about something. That's an absolute certainty. I wish there was a market on that, but if he's in the mood and he's prepared to work hard, then this could be an opportunity for him. So I'm going to take a big price on this because I don't want to muck about with the handicaps with Dzumhur. He has got a very weak serve, and he could drop a set, 6-1 or something without too many issues. But yeah, money line for me. I can't actually see it because there's something in the way of my
plus 175, plus 175 on the money line.
I thought it was roughly about that. Yeah, so yeah, plus 175. I'm going to take a chance on Dzumhur. As I say, a lot of underdogs win in Gstaad. Probably the reason why is that the conditions are, not, they're very slow. That does make it more of an advantage for players like Dzumhur.
Our final match we are going to discuss is an interesting match. It's between two players who aren't in the best of form. Hugo, Gaston and Zheng. I think it's Zheng, how you pronounce the name. Zheng is minus
Sung,
1.
I think.
Sheng. Well, Zheng is the guy.
I call it Sung. I think it's Sung.
Sheng. I'm not very good at pronunciation. Zheng against Gaston.
It's not an easy one.
Minus 127 for Zheng, plus 102 for Gaston. Spread 1.5. Total 22.5. Both of these players are in really bad form. They have lost 5 of their last 6 matches. Gaston has lost his last 3 matches. Zheng has been playing in pretty average kind of tournaments through qualification and lost his last 4. But there has been some money for Zheng in the build-up to this match with BetRivers, probably because his clay record is a lot better than Gaston's this year. 20 wins from 33 matches. Again, a low level compared to Hugo Gaston, who's only got 5 wins from his 18 clay court matches this season.
Yeah, the odds have moved on this one. It was when I looked at this a few hours ago. It was a pick'em, and I at that point I was very interested in Sung here. Gaston's been injured for a start off. He had a grade 3 abdominal tear at the end of May. He's only played 2 matches since then. One of them was a classic. I talked about this a lot during Wimbledon. Players just turning up for the 66 grand or whatever it is. This is an example of that. Surely Gaston hadn't played at all. Abdominal tear, turned up just to play Wimbledon, lost to Mensik. And he played last week in a clay challenger, and he lost to Radu Albot. So Radu Albot, with all due respect, has never been the best on clay, and he's knocking on now in his years, that's for sure. So not a very good result there for Gaston. If we look at the last 10 matches on clay at main level, Gaston 20% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 94. I don't know whether his lack of form coincides with when I met him in Marrakesh, because he was all right before then. It's just meeting me has completely derailed his career, seemingly. Sung's got a 30% win rate and a total of 97, so a fair bit better for Sung on the main level clay stats. We go back, that's the last 10 matches. If we go back 12 months, it's still Sung ahead. Gaston 97, Sung 99. So on the numbers, you would favour Sung. He's been playing well on the clay lately. You wouldn't fancy either of these two on the grass. Again, two shortish guys, good movers, not the strongest of servers by any means. So you wouldn't expect them to do much on the grass. But both do well on the clay. Sung's been playing well on the clay, won the Vicenza Challenger not too long ago, and then he lost in the final of the Prostayov Challenger a week later, so he's in decent form on the clay. As you would expect, didn't do anything on the grass. That doesn't bother me. Did play the Trieste Challenger last week, ended up losing in the first round in a final set tiebreak. But the other interesting thing here is Sung's got a very good record against left-handers. Gaston, obviously, a lefty. Sung's won 9 of his last 10 matches against left-handers at all levels, and he's won his last 9 in a row on clay against left-handers. So if this was a pick'em, which it was, I would certainly be in the Sung camp. I'm slightly tempted still with him on that tiny handicap, maybe maybe move it to -2.5 or something like that. That's probably where I'd go with this. The odds having been moved, but it's a clay. You could get in a couple of early breaks, and the odds might move around. But Sung for me.
Shung is the bet for Sean. -127 on the money line. If you want to put it in, you might want to put it in a parlay or have it as a single. But the line movement has put Sean off from making it an official play. 1.5 is the spread. But you can move the toggle on the Bet Rivers website to 2.5 and get a better price for your buck. So 2 official plays there on the matches, and we move across to our second tournament of 3 tournaments this week. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so just yet. We go across to Switzerland to Gstaad. And this is an interesting tournament. I'd always fancy going here. I'd like to go to this tournament here. But it's very expensive. Part of the world. Yeah, is it raining? Well, I'm not going to go this year. That's good. That's good news. So the weather isn't that great. I'll give you a list of the previous winners here. Berrettini won it in 2024. Kachin won it in 2023. Casper Ruud won it in 22 and 21. And Ramos Vinolas won it in the year 2020. Berrettini's win was probably a bit of a surprise, wasn't it, compared to all those sort of clay courts that Berrettini won it here? But your conditions may tell me a little bit different. What have we got for us?
Yeah, it's 1,000 meters of altitude here, right. and if it's warm, which it was last year, it will play quick. But it's all about the weather, and it's not going to be great. It looks pretty unsettled all week. Actually, it's supposed to rain tomorrow, Monday. Again, similar to Gstaad, not more than 21 degrees until Friday, and thunder showers are forecast all week. So we're not sure if they hit. Obviously, it'll make it slower. If they don't, then the altitude might make it. Well, the altitude should make it quicker than normal sea level event anyway, but that will be dampened by the rain if there isn't. It's certainly supposed to be on Monday, so I would definitely say it's going to play a lot slower than it did last year. That there was a lot of holds, a lot of tie breaks, a lot of set one overs, all that stuff last year, but I don't think that's going to be the case this time. If we look at the average in the last 8 editions, 81.4% holds and 72.3% first serve points won. That's way quicker than the numbers I just talked about in Gstaad. 53% of the matches went over 22.5 games, and 33% of the matches went over 10.5 games in set number 1. Normally a decent one for underdogs. Wasn't last year. There was only 4 underdog winners in this whole tournament last year. But the overall average is 35%, so it's still a decent one for underdog bettors. If you'd bet every underdog in the last 9 editions for $10 each, you'd be down a little bit. You'd be $110 down over the last 9 editions. As I said, the weather doesn't look great. As far as the trends are concerned, it's normally a good one for qualifiers, this. A qualifier has made either the semi-final or the final in 5 of the last 7 editions. Only 2 number 1 seeds have won the title since 2004. But the conditions, they make this tournament. Two big hitters made the final last year when it was hot, Berrettini and Halis. But in 2023, the year before, when it was cooler, it was Pedro Cachin and Albert Ramos. Plenty of big prize winners and finalists here. Halis made the final last year as a qualifier. Cachin won it 25-1. The aforementioned Gaston made the final here, 50-1. Stebe, who's had a terrible luck with injuries throughout his career, made the final at 66-1. And as you said, Berrettini won at 33-1 a little while ago.
There is a mixture of people. There's playing styles in this draw, and obviously the weather's going to be dependent on that. But if we look at the draw, again, it's a 250 event, which means the top 4 seeds get biased through to the last 16. In the top 4 are two-time champion Casper Ruud, is the number 1 seed. Obviously didn't play at Wimbledon. He's going to be very fresh. And it's on the Bublik is a number 2. I don't think he's going to like the conditions there if it's a bit rainy and a bit cold and a bit slow. He's the number 2 seed there. Pedro Martinez, Spaniard, is number 3 seed, and number 4 seed is Thomas Martin Etcheverry. If we went to the seedings, Ruud would play. I think he's got there's someone's. Who is it? Oh, he played Goffin. He looked like a wild card. It looks like there's someone pulled out. So Ruud's got a quite easy section. Martinez would play Laszlo Djere. Rinderknech would play Etcheverry, and Kominsana would play Bublik. Let's have a look at the outright odds with Bet Rivers. Casper Ruud is plus 150 to win his 3rd title here in Switzerland. Bublik is plus 550. Etcheverry is 750. Laszlo Djere is 9. Majorak is 12. Kominsana 14. Kim 22. Pedro Martinez 22. Arthur Cazaux 28. Jan-Lennard Struff 28. And then we go into big prices. Cerundolo, Basilashvili, Karbash Maina, and Stanislav Slavinka, all 33-1. Arthur Rinderknech 40-1. He's had a good Wimbledon. I'm probably a bit too slow for him, but
yeah, probably a little bit slow for him.
What do you like here, Sean? What do you got for us?
I'm going to take a chance in the top half on Laszlo Djere here. I really like his draw. He's a couple of time semi-finalist here. He's won 6 of his 9 matches at this tournament, Laszlo Djere. He's also got a perfect 4-0 record over Martinez in his section. He's never even lost a set to Martinez. Sorry, I'm just slightly distracted because Jannik Sinner's on match point.
Yeah, Jannik Sinner's on match point for Wimbledon. Yeah, so and it will cover our bet as well. Our bet that we've had.
That's why I'm slightly distracted there, but I'm professional. I will carry on with what I'm talking about here. As I said, got a great record against Martinez. Never dropped a set in 4 matches against him. Good record here. Obvious chance. Casper Ruud is obviously a guy that's done well here in the past, but he skipped the entire grass season with a knee injury. So how fit is he? Can't be match fit. We'll see. I'm more than happy to take him on with Djere there. He's a 9-1 chance. In the bottom half of the draw, I'm going to take a chance on Kominsana. He's a 14-1 chance. Very good numbers on the clay. 2025 at main level. He's had a lot of good wins, a lot of good performances against the better players, top 20 players, but hasn't been able to string it all together yet to win a title or get to a final. But it could be coming if he can get that consistency. Service points won and return points won total 101 on clay this season. Wins over some great players, Zverev, Fils. He's also beaten Jarry, Bautista Agut this season on the clay. He's been in poor form since a match he lost his way in against Holger Rune, and he lost my way as well there as well because Sinner's just won, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah, Sinner's just won Wimbledon. Our bet has cashed on Sinner. Well done, Sean. Our final bet on Sinner minus 1.5 sets cashes. He wins 3 sets to 1.
Good
40
price,
games.
That wasn't it?
Yeah, well done, mate. Well done. Brilliant read.
So that's worked out nicely. Where was I? Yeah, he lost his way. I lost my way as well. But Kominsana lost his way against Rune in Rome. He was ahead in that match, got pegged back, and he's barely won a match since. But I'm not that worried about the recent form at this stage of the season. It's not that important because a lot of the best players here on clay are coming from a poor time of it on the grass. He certainly got better stats than Etcheverry in this half of the draw. Has Kominsana, and Bublik is just a complete wild card. He's never made a final on clay at main level. You wouldn't have thought the slower conditions with the rain would help him at all. I guess he was hoping for a warm week here. Not going to happen, I don't think. So Kominsana for me, 14-1 each way, and Djere as well each way.
Kominsana 14-1, Laszlo Djere 9-1. Head across to BetRivers website and the app. Just to say, Jannik Sinner has won, like we said, Wimbledon titles just been won by Jannik Sinner. And, I'm watching him walk into his team now, and I'm just thinking I keep going back thinking about that Dimitrov match.
I thought you were going to say I keep thinking about Pat Cash climbing up to the.
No. I don't keep thinking about Pat Cash anymore. Really, to be fair, but I just think that Dimitrov match and how fortunate he was to win it. But great scenes there. Jannik Sinner win it, and it makes our profit probably up to about 15 units. I'll give you a wrap up a little bit later on. But more winnings for us, and then it ends a brilliant Wimbledon Championship here on Game Bet Match. Two matches.
Gone into the crowd, Yeah,
he's got to see his box. Yeah, he's got in.
That's the Pat Cash thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't remember that. They're way too young, but there you go.
Exactly. Arthur Cazaux is up against Nikoloz Basilashvili. Basilashvili did us a favour. Very, very nice price. Set us on a good run at Wimbledon with his win over Musetti. Was a pick for here, big price pick for us here. But he's up against Arthur Cazaux. He's an underdog again, Basilashvili. Cazaux is not having the best of time of it on clay. Only one win this year on Holder clay. Basilashvili is not renowned for his clay court exploits, but decent Wimbledon. Got a good win against Musetti. But he's played 2 matches since and hasn't really done much. But there has been a bit of money throughout the day from Basilashvili at plus 125 on the money line here, and Arthur Cazaux at minus 162. He's not sort of a price that I want to be trusted him at.
No, I think Nikoloz Basilashvili might want to have a word about his clay record. He's won Hamburg a couple of times at 500 level. He's won Munich on the slow clays. He's not averse to the red dirt, Basilashvili, unlike Cazaux, who's not keen on it at all. Cazaux generally is best in quicker conditions, grass or indoor hard, quick hard court. That's Cazaux, big serve. Looking at his clay record, he's lost 7 of his last 8 matches on clay at all levels. Cazaux, that's not just main level. That's from May 2023 to the present day. And if we look at what he's done on clay at main level, he's played 8 matches and lost 7 of them. So overall, his clay numbers at main level, Cazaux 13% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 95. Basilashvili's stats should be a lot better. I think what lets him down a lot of the time is he does tend to lose sets 6-love and 6-1 when he's kind of lost his radar. I think that brings his stats down. They're still better than Cazaux's. Much, much better win rate, 47% win rate on clay at main level, service points won and return points won, total of 97, which is a couple of points better. I would have thought it should be a little bit better than that. As I say, he's twice a Hamburg winner. Won Munich as well, which is also at slight altitude on slow clay. So similar conditions to here. The Gstaad's got more altitude, but he's certainly shown he can win in these conditions. I don't get this price at all. I think it must be all about the fact that Basilashvili retired at the Trieste Challenger a few days ago, but that doesn't mean a lot with Basilashvili. With all the withdrawals that happened in Gstaad and other tournaments this week, he got into the Gstaad main draw. So I expect it was a bit of a tank in Trieste. He's obviously got the news that he's in the Gstaad main draw, and he's thought, well, yeah, I think I'll go for that, thanks. Not exactly a player that's scared of a tank, Basilashvili, but if he doesn't fancy it. But he should fancy this. He's desperate to get back into the top 100. I would expect a performance from him here as he does try and get back into the top 100. Certainly a better clay record than Cazaux, so I'm more than happy to take plus money on Basilashvili.
Basilashvili plus 125, our first official pick in Gstaad. Let's move on to our second match. And this is the one that I caught my eye, this one here. I was quite surprised by it. Oh, God. This is turning out to be a disaster show with internet problems. I've got coughing fit. We've got distractions going on at Wimbledon. Okay, Jan-Lennard Struff is up against Juan Manuel Cerundolo, whose brother is the favourite in the tournament over in Gstaad. He's playing in Gstaad. Jan-Lennard Struff is minus 152 with Bet Rivers. Cerundolo is plus 123. Spread is 2.5, and the total here is 22.5. I can't understand why Cerundolo is plus 123 to win this match. He just got to a final of a challenger on clay. We got beat by Navoni. Struff has had an awful run of injuries, and he's only won 1 match out of 7 matches on clay this year. Really poor stuff. Obviously got beat by Alcaraz in the first round of Wimbledon, but he did take a set off the Spaniard there. But we know he's got injury concerns. We know clay is not his surface. It's fair to say on this occasion that clay is definitely not his surface. But Cerundolo is plus 123. I mean, he's got a brilliant record on clay this year, and he's on the back of making the final in a challenger. I'm very surprised by this one.
Yeah, again, the prices have moved on this. I mean, Cerundolo was a bigger price than this earlier on. I should point out, so you know what Struff says his favourite surface is?
Clay. But his record is
I'll be
pretty
more specific. He says clay at altitude.
I'm having a bit of a mare today. We're getting distracted by Wimbledon going on.
It's virtually impossible with Yannick Sinner crawling into the crowd and all that sort of stuff. It's very, very difficult. However, having said that, you're right in saying that his clay record has been really poor this season.
At least I'm right on something.
You're definitely right on that. It's not been good at all. Cerundolo, as you rightly said, is coming off a run to the final in the Braunschweig Challenger, as you said, lost to Navoni on Saturday. That's yesterday. So he's well attuned to the clay. Struff did play one match in the Bundesliga event that I was talking about and lost it to Collignon, who's just coming back from injury. So, yeah, his clay form lately isn't great. I think he's favourite because of the fact that it is altitude. He has got all the way to the final in Madrid at altitude. When it's hot, when it's quick. I think he might have made the semis here last year, actually. I think he did. I think he lost to Halis. So when it's hot, when it's the sun's baking down and it's quick in Gstaad, that would suit him. Knowing that it's not supposed to be that quick here this year, certainly not hot, a lot slower, rainy. That's what's attracted me into Cerundolo, really. If you look at the last 12 months on clay at main level, there's a slight advantage to Struff, but not much. Cerundolo, 40% win rate, service points won and return points won total of 98. Struff, 46% win rate and a 99 total, so just 1 point better off Struff. But he's only broken serve 11% of the time on clay in the last 12 months at main level. So, yeah, his clay form is not good. I just think that the fact that it is slower this year will make it harder for Struff to play his game and overpower Cerundolo. Cerundolo is very much a clay grinder, if you want to say that. Just looking at Cerundolo's record against big servers, he hasn't faced many, but he did beat Gabriel Diallo on clay and then lost to him on hard. The only other big server he's faced in my database was Kevin Anderson. He actually beat Kevin Anderson on hard in Miami as a decent underdog a few years ago. Again, this is another one where the price was bigger on the underdog earlier on. It's kind of put me off a bit, plus 123. It's maybe a little bit skinny for me now, but yeah, Cerundolo is where I would have been heading had the price not tweaked itself in a little bit.
I think it will go shorter than plus 123. I can see the lines being moved around, and I think the plus 123 will start shorter. So
the weather,
I quite like Cerundolo. And if you agree with me, you want to take the plus 123, you want to take it now because Bet Rivers will not have that price available for much longer in the day, I don't believe. Just to give you a little update, the action starts in Gstaad very, very early. 4:30 a.m. tomorrow. So you don't have much time. When this video goes live, you're going to get on these bets quite early. 4:30 a.m. Eastern time. And in Båstad, it's a 7:30 a.m. start. So nice and early start. So make sure you get across to the BetRivers website and get those bets on. We haven't got the order of play yet, so we don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or it's going to be on Tuesday. But my best bit of advice is to download the app and get on now to avoid disappointment. Our final tournament of the 3 250s is in Los Cabos in Mexico. We haven't got any match bets on this one. We just got a little look at the outright market. Looking at previous winners, Jordan Thompson won it last year. Tsitsipas, Medvedev's a former winner here. Norrie, former winner here as well. Schwartzman is a former winner as well. So, again, another mixed bag of type of players. There's no real traditional grass court player or no traditional clay court player there, you would say. Medvedev and Thompson, we wouldn't say Thompson is a player that would have a success on the clay, but it's a mixed bag there. Weather, I'm guessing, would be very, very different for the two tournaments we spoke about, Sean, here.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hot all week here. It always is, 30, 31 degrees. Quite windy, though. 16-mile-an-hour winds. That's the weather. It's not a great tournament, is it, looking at this? No. This is basically a challenger with Rublev, Davidovich and Shapovalov thrown in. I mean, Adam Walton's the number 8 seed here, which, says it all, really. I mean, it's not great. It's been moved in the calendar from February back to July. It was always played this time of year. Then they moved it to February, I think, to try and kind of coincide it with like Acapulco and then Indian Wells, which would make sense. This slot, I guess I don't know. For me, it doesn't really make a great deal of sense. But conditions-wise, it'll be back to what it was before. It's humid. It's a slow court, high bouncing. It's a Sol Flex outdoor hard surface, unless they've changed the surface. But that's what it always was. Slow, high bouncing. A lot of the matches are played at night when it's even slower and cooler, because obviously it's very hot during the day. I've taken out last year's numbers on this because it was played in February when it was much cooler. The averages for the summer tournaments, it averages 78% holds and 72% first serve points won, which I think is less than Gstaad, which we just talked about a minute ago. Shows you how slow it is and how quick Gstaad can be in the right conditions. 62% of the matches have gone under 22.5 games in the 3 summer editions held since COVID. So big trend to the unders. Not a great tournament for underdogs. 27% on average win in the last 7 events held in the summer. And if you bet every underdog in those 7 summer editions for $10, you'd be down roughly $500. So it's not a tournament where I tend to go looking for too many underdogs. As far as the trends are concerned, it is usually won by one of the favourites. The only exception, as you mentioned, was Jordan Thompson when he won it in February last year. He's the only winner of this tournament that's ever won it at bigger odds than 14-1. He was a 33-1 shot last year.
Let's have a look at the draw. Andrei Rublev is the number 1 seed, and the top 4 seeds, like the other 2 tournaments, all get biased through to the last 16. Rublev is number 1, David Fokina number 2. Top half, Quinton Halys is the number 4 seed. He's got a bias. Dennis Shapovalov, who's had a very disappointing campaign, very disappointing Wimbledon. He's through to the last 16 as well. The quarterfinals, if they went to seedings, Rublev v. Bu, Halys v. Kovacevic, Altmaier v. Shapovalov, and Adam Morton against Davidovich Fokina. I mean, it's dominated by the favourites. Plus $2 for Rublev, $4.50 for Davidovich Fokina, 6-1 Shapovalov, 10 Quinton Halys, 14-1 bars, and Colton Smith, 14-1. Basilashvili, 14-1. It's very weak tournaments. I suppose it's really there if Rublev and Davidovich Fokina fancy, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've looked at this draw a few times and not much really springs off the page. Basilashvili is perhaps the one on his best form that you might think could perhaps upset the favourites. I mean, Rublev, it should be a Rublev-Davidovich final, really, unless Shapovalov decides to turn up this week. I mean, slow conditions you wouldn't think would favour him. But I couldn't back Davidovich Fokina to win a tournament plus 450. Something strange will happen. It's just not the right price, is it? Emilio Nava is one that I kind of thought about as well, 28-1. But you're really guessing with these guys. I mean, a lot of them just don't have any form at this sort of level, really. As I said, this is basically a glorified challenger. If you're Andrei Rublev, you should be winning this tournament, really, unless you get into the final and Davidovich has a good day or whatever, and then that would be understandable. But I can't. There's nothing strong enough here to make me want to have a bet. I can't really see past either Rublev or Davidovich winning it. Never, if you really want to have a couple of bit of pizza money, or maybe Basilashvili, but yeah, it's not a tournament I'm going to be doing much betting in, to be totally honest. Yeah,
sometimes the best bet is no bet, and on this occasion we think no bet is the best bet. So we're concentrating our tennis picks this week on the 2 tournaments in Europe in the clay, Gstaad and Bastad. Just give us a recap, Sean, on all the official plays, if you could.
Yeah, sure. So in Bastad, the outrights there were Sebastian Baez 12-1, Jesper de Jong 16-1. They're both each ways. Match bets, I'm taking Mikael Ymer to win the opening set against Van der Zandschulp, plus 180. That is with Bet Rivers. And I'm taking a chance on Dzumhur on the money line against Ofner, plus 175. As far as Gstaad is concerned, the outrights there were Laszlo Djere each way around about 9-1, Komisarna each way 14-1, and the match bet there is Basilashvili to beat Cazaux. I think he was plus 125 or thereabouts with Bet Rivers.
Yep, so there are our official plays. Obviously, we had a few distractions here. Yannick Sinner was being crowned the Wimbledon champion as we were recording here. We had a couple of technical issues as well during the show. We had a coughing fit for me, but I'm glad you stayed with us throughout there on what was a bumper week's return to the regular sort of season. The build-up to the US Open continues. We'll be here every single 3 times a week through Tuesday, Wednesday, and on our Sunday previewing the action as we build up to the US Open. It's the American hardcourt season coming up thick and fast. This week is a tournament over, obviously, in Europe on the clay. And we ended Wimbledon with a winning bet there, which takes our figures for the season to 15.99 units. So just under 16 units in profit here on Game Bet Match. We're the only YouTube show to actually keep our figures, whether they're good or bad. You'll see them here on all of our shows. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. A load of you joined us for Wimbledon. There was over 10,000 viewers. We said that's what we wanted to do. We had a fantastic Wimbledon. Tennis season goes right throughout the whole year. It's not just about the Grand Slams. It's about this kind of stuff. And there's some great bets there. The quality might not be as good, but the bets, the reasoning for the bets is just as good. Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you cash a ticket on the Wimbledon final or the first round in Gstaad, it still pays the same wages. So that's been it for Ben Weekly Game Bet Match. Sean, thank you very much for joining us. I know it was a bit of a long one there, but we had a few issues along the way, but we did it. And we'll be back again on Tuesday looking at some more matches in what isn't the most exciting week of the tennis calendar, but I reckon we could be quite a profitable one. Have a good day. Take care. Go and spend your Wimbledon money wisely, and we'll speak to you all again on Tuesday. Take care.